Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Tesla's 2023 Annual Shareholder Meeting in Austin, Texas. My name is Martin Viecha. I'm Vice President of Investor Relations, and I will be the chair of today's meeting. First of all, I really wanted to thank everyone who continues to do this trip on an annual basis and shows up every time. It's really quite something that we have a following as dedicated as this, so thank you very much for that. I also wanted to thank our first-time visitors. I know that many of you won a lottery to come for the first time to a Tesla shareholder meeting. You'll probably notice that unlike many other shareholder meetings of other companies, this one tends to be a bit more fun, so hope you enjoy that. But the last thing I really wanted to say is that just thank you so much for all your support over the years. We really feel like you're part of our mission, part of our story, and it's something we truly, truly value. So thank you so much for that. There will be two parts of today's meeting. First, the formal part of the meeting, where we will cover items that stockholders have been asked to vote on, as well as any other matters that are properly presented. And after the voting, I will introduce Tesla's co-founder and CEO and techno-king, Elon Musk, who will give a presentation about Tesla's year in review. But at this time, I'd like to thank the members of the Tesla team and the board who are here with us here today. A representative from PricewaterhouseCoopers, Tesla's independent auditor, present with us as well. But before we begin, I'd like to introduce you to Tesla's chair, Robin Denholm, who would like to say a few words.
I'm a little bit shorter, so hello, everyone. On behalf of the board, I am really honored to welcome you all here today to the 2023 Annual Shareholder Meeting. It's wonderful for me to see everyone in the room today and also the many investors that have joined us today via the virtual live stream. It's our third straight year of having the annual meeting here in Austin. At the first meeting, the factory was still in the early stages of development, with equipment being installed and commissioned. During the 2022 meeting, production had started to ramp as we produced about 1,600 vehicles that week. And now, less than a year later, we have more than tripled the amount, having achieved production of 5,000 cars in a single week. A huge congratulations to the Texas team. And on top of that, we are getting ready to roll out our first Cybertrucks. This exponential trajectory of the Gigafactory here in Texas is a reflection of Tesla as a whole. In 2022 was another record-breaking year for us, with deliveries growing by 40% year over year. And that trend has continued in the first quarter of 2023. We would not be able to achieve this growth without the dedication of our amazing employees. I've been fortunate enough over the years to actually travel to many of our locations, all of the gigafactories around the world, and I can tell you that I've witnessed firsthand how our exceptional employees in our global talent across the world has together achieved our mission, or furthered our mission, of accelerating the world's transition to sustainable energy. A huge round of applause, please. This year, here in Texas, we also had our very first Investor Day, where we introduced our company leaders from design to engineering to supply chain, manufacturing, energy, and charging. And they each spoke about the role of their teams in making our mission come to life. And I was thrilled that investors were able to hear directly from this outstanding leadership team that Elon has been able to put together over many, many years. It is on the strength of their leadership and the hard work of our dedicated employees around the world that I believe we are not only weather the macroeconomic environment that we've seen this year, but also continue to be in the strongest position ever to advance Tesla's mission. As a startup, Tesla proved that electric vehicles could be fun with the Roadster. They could even be better than gas-powered vehicles in every single way with the S and X, and could be all of these things as well as affordable with the Model 3 and Model Y, which last quarter became the best-selling vehicle of any kind in Europe and the best-selling non-pickup vehicle in the United States. And today, as one of the world's largest global companies, we plan to change the paradigm again by forging the path to achieving a global sustainable energy economy as set out at our Investor Day in our Master Plan 3. As Tesla grows, so do our customers' positive impact on carbon emissions. When I stood here last year, I proudly announced that in 2021, our customers avoided emitting 8.4 million metric tonnes of greenhouse gas emissions, the equivalent of over 20 billion miles driven by internal combustion engine vehicles. Today, I can tell you that in 2022, our customers avoided releasing over 13.4 million metric tonnes of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, the equivalent of over 33 billion miles of driving of internal combustion vehicles. That's an almost 60% increase in total emissions savings year over year. Putting more of our products in customers' hands helps grow that number, and our goals of making our products greener over time and further decarbonising the electric grid will help multiply that effect. As part of that goal, I am delighted to say that as described in our recent impact report, our global supercharging network was again 100% renewable in 2022. We've been able to achieve all of this while maintaining industry-leading margins and generating strong cash flows over the last several years. Going forward, we will continue our focus on capital investment plans to support our future growth with investments in batteries, in vehicle production, including the next generation platform, in the building of our lithium refinery that we recently broke ground on, in the energy storage factories, in our sales and service footprint, and in our charging network, among other things. Before I hand it back to Martin, I would also like to thank Hiro Mizuno for his dedicated service to the Tesla shareholders and the board these past 3 years. I would also like to express our enthusiasm on behalf of my fellow directors at the prospect of JB Straubel joining our board. I don't have to tell you that his passion for Tesla and green tech will make him an important asset in our mission to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. So again, on behalf of our full board, thank you for your tremendous support and welcome to your 2023 shareholder meeting. And with that, I'll hand it back to Martin.
Thank you, Robin. I will now call the meeting to order. Please refer to the meeting agenda that has been provided to you and posted on the virtual meeting site. The time is now 3:10 p.m. Central Time, and I declare the polls are now open. We have already received over the last few weeks voting proxies from stockholders, meaning that almost all the votes that will be counted were already submitted before today. However, if you wish to vote your shares or change your prior vote, you may do so through the virtual meeting site. For those who are in person here today, ballots and ballot boxes were available to you at the check-in. Tesla's board of directors has appointed Computershare Trust Company to serve as inspector of elections. Computershare has taken and signed an oath as inspector and has certified that starting on April 6, 2023, the proxy materials or a notice of internet availability of proxy materials were mailed or provided to all Tesla stockholders of record March 20th, 2023. We have majority of outstanding shares represented at the meeting, so I declare that there's a quorum present at the meeting, and we may proceed with the meeting. The items on the agenda are as follows. Number 1, the election of Class 1 directors Elon Musk, Robin Denholm, and J.B. Straubel to serve for a term of 3 years or until their respective successors are duly elected and qualified. Number 2, to approve executive compensation on a non-binding advisory basis. Number 3, to approve the frequency of future votes on executive compensation on a non-binding advisory basis. Number 4, to ratify the appointment of PricewaterhouseCoopers LLP as Tesla's independent public registered accounting firm for the 2023 fiscal year. Number 5, to vote on a stockholder proposal included in our proxy statement, which relates to the reporting of key person risk. Number 6, to vote on a stockholder proposal which the stockholders did not seek to have included in our proxy statement. Tesla's board has recommended that our stockholders vote for each of the director nominees, for the approval by non-binding advisory vote of executive compensation, and the ratification of appointment of PwC as an independent registered public accounting firm for fiscal year 2023. And every 3 years for non-binding advisory vote for the frequency of future votes on executive compensation. With respect to stockholder proposal included in our proxy statement, which relates to the reporting on the key man risk, Karen Roberts-Dotier, on behalf of Sumtris, is here to present this proposal. Ms. Roberts-Dotier, can you please identify yourself? I would like to invite you to speak. You will have 3 minutes.
I'll hold it for you. I got it. Hello. Thank you for having me here today. Under discussion is a shareholder proposal concerning key person risk at Tesla, requiring Tesla's board to draft a report covering the steps taken to ameliorate the potential impacts of loss of key persons in the company. However, before I begin, I would first like to say thank you to Mr. Musk. For so many of us, you stepped into fields where we had so desperately wanted to see change, and through bringing in a talented team, willing to put in the long hours, you dragged reluctant industries kicking and screaming into a better future, and for that, thank you. Building up this juggernaut around us, which, as you largely put it, runs itself these days. Thank you for that. And yet now here we are today, at a time when Tesla's technological leadership should be on display. The investment community largely sees us as adrift, with management focused on all the matters not Tesla, watching as Tesla's brand favorability dropped by 15 points last year, something that cost us margins. We have such a spectacular product pipeline and a team that knows how to execute at scale with low cost of goods sold, something that we are not being properly recognized for. It should go without saying, but apparently bears repeating, that if you cannot produce with low COGS, you have no future. When I look around the auto industry these days, I see a lot of companies that have no future. And that's a success on behalf of an incredible team here at Tesla that deserves recognition. But when people look at this company, that's not what they see. They see the company as a synonym for its CEO. And then the discussion turns to everything except for where it should be focused. It's my sincere hope that by introducing this proposal, we can not only accelerate the development of management at Tesla, but also increase its visibility. The fact that this company is so much more than its key persons is something that the public and the investment community should see. A founder often finds their greatest success in ensuring the future of the company and the development of the management talent who can come after them. Think Tim Cook at Apple, Steve Ballmer at Microsoft, and so forth. People who are ready from day one to execute without controversy, without distraction, and build a future for the company. I encourage the board should embrace this opportunity in the most public manner possible to showcase the future being built right here so that the discussion among the public and the investment community revolves around that and not around every public statement on every other topic made by the leadership. I strongly encourage the board, the shareholders to support this proposal and for the board to embrace it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Roberts-Doar. The board is recommended that our stockholders vote against this proposal for the reasons as set forth in our statement of opposition in our proxy statement. Finally, as you saw, and investor advocates for social justice would like to raise a proposal from the floor. The proponents did not seek to have their proposal included in the proxy statement. The board recommends that our stockholders who are entitled to vote on this proposal vote against it. As a reminder, as is disclosed in the proxy statement, I've been advised by the proxy holders that they intend to vote all shares of stock over which they have discretionary authority against this proposal. Only shareholders who are shareholders of record or have obtained a legal proxy may vote for this proposal after it is presented. Courtney Wicks, representing Investor Advocates for Social Justice, is here to present the proposal. Ms. Wicks, I would like you to speak. You will have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Tesla board members, management, employees, and shareholders. My name is Courtney Wicks, and I am the Executive Director for Investor Advocates for Social Justice. And I'm here on behalf of As You Sow and the Sisters of the Good Shepherd, who have filed shareholder proposals in the past on child labor and human rights abuses in Tesla's supply chain. I stand here today to call on shareholders to vote yes on requesting Tesla to conduct a third-party report detailing the company's efforts to eradicate child and forced labor in its supply chain. The human rights risks that permeate throughout Tesla's value chain, when not adequately addressed, harm shareholder value and undermine Tesla's ability to lead the just transition. Growing attention and concern have been placed on child labor in cobalt mining in the Democratic Republic of the Congo, as well as on forced labor in China's Xinjiang region. 70% of the world's cobalt needed for EV batteries are sourced in the DRC. Over 40,000 children work in artisanal and small-scale mining, often without protective equipment and in dangerous spaces that frequently collapse. Many children are seriously injured or killed in the mining process. In Tesla's latest sustainability report, it claims to have audited 80% of the miners and refiners in their cobalt supply chain against responsible production standards. However, there are many industry-backed standards, some of which are weak, and it isn't clear what percentage of audits were conducted by which initiatives. It is also unclear how the company's due diligence ensures cobalt sourced from child labor is not intermingled in the industrial cobalt supply chain. Subsequently, an estimated 1.8 million people have been subject to state-imposed genocide, detention and internment camps, and forced labor in the Xinjiang Uyghur region. A recent study concluded that automakers cannot conduct meaningful audits in this region. The recent Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act in the United States sent an inquiry into Tesla's supply chain highlights the regulatory risk Tesla faces. We believe a third-party audit would provide greater transparency into how Tesla plans to eradicate child and forced labor from its supply chain. One of Tesla's competitive advantages is its sustainable leadership. Tesla, its board of directors and management team have a moral obligation to pursue ethical sourcing practices that do not rely on the lives of children or enslaved people. Tesla can continue to make a true leadership difference that forges a sustainable economic future that is anchored by innovation, empathy, human development, and shareholder value. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Wicks. We will now accept votes for, against, or to abstain for this proposal, but again, only for record holders or legal proxy holders. Please note, this is the final opportunity to submit proxies in order for them to be counted. I declare the polls are now closed. Based on proxies we have previously received, I'd like to announce on preliminary basis that our stockholders have approved the recommendations of the Tesla board on all agenda items, except that shareholders have recommended 1 year for non-binding advisory vote on the frequency of future votes on executive compensation. This means that I would like to officially announce our new addition to the Tesla board, J.B. Straubel. After the final tabulation is completed, we will announce specific vote tallies in the filing form 8K within 4 business days of this meeting. That concludes the official business of today's shareholder meeting, which is now adjourned. During the course of the following session, we may discuss our business outlook and make forward-looking statements. Such statements are predictions based on current expectations. Actual events could differ materially due to a number of risks and uncertainties, including those disclosed in our most recent Form 10-K and 10-Q filings with the SEC. Such forward-looking statements represent our views as of today, should not be relied on thereafter, and we disclaim from any obligation to update them after today. And with that, please welcome Elon Musk.
I just want to say I love you guys. Well, we've got a lot of great news to talk about today. The Tesla team has done an incredible job of executing over the past year, and we have many exciting years ahead of us. So, yeah. So with the Tesla Master Plan Part 3, which admittedly was quite technical. We wanted to go into a lot of technical depth. It was clear that what we were saying was not just, were not merely assertions, but that they were backed up with physics and with real data, that it's realistic. And with the Master Plan Part 3, we want to, basically, the goal is to give people hope, realistic hope, and maybe hope's even the wrong word, but simply to say that there is a path to a fully sustainable global economy, that we are on that path, that we are accelerating that path, and that so long as we don't get complacent about it, it will happen. So I'll kind of rush through a recap of the Master Plan Part 3, but some of the salient points are that it will actually take less energy to go sustainable, not more energy. It's actually more and some of these things may sound very obvious, but it's more energy efficient to go sustainable, not less. There's less mining that is required for a sustainable energy economy, not more. Also very important. I heard a question raised about cobalt mining, and you know what? We will do a third-party audit. So, So, in fact, we'll put a webcam on the mine. And if anybody sees any children, please let us know. So, I mean, I don't want to go off on a tangent too much on that front, but it's very important to appreciate that most of our battery packs are iron-based. A majority of our battery packs are iron-based, not cobalt. And then our other battery packs are nickel-based, not cobalt. The nickel batteries use a little bit of cobalt as a binder, but only a tiny amount. In contrast, your phones all use 100% cobalt. I recommend complaining to the phone manufacturers. But even for the small amount of cobalt that we do use, we will make sure, 6 ways to Sunday, that no child labor is being exploited. Obviously, we're a company that cares a lot about doing the right thing, and we don't want to delude ourselves or delude anyone else. So, yeah, count. So, again, just recapping Master Plan Part 3, really the point is to say that it is very, very doable. It is happening. We need a threefold increase in solar and wind. We need to, admittedly, some of these are 29-fold increase in vehicle stationary and thermal battery production. Actually, in a nutshell, the way to think about sustainability is the faster we can make battery packs, the faster we can move to a sustainable energy economy. That's the fundamental limiting factor. So, I'll just grab some water here. So, yeah, I can't emphasize that point enough. The rate of lithium-ion battery production fundamentally decides the rate at which the world transitions to sustainability, because the batteries are needed for all forms of transport and for stationary storage, given the intermittent nature of solar and wind power. And we do invite people to critique our analysis, because any given analysis is going to be to some degree wrong. So that's why we put it out there, looking for critical feedback to say, well, perhaps we got some things wrong, perhaps some things need to be adjusted. But generally, the feedback we've gotten is that actually our analysis is quite accurate, and we've not seen any rebuttals thus far that would cause us to change our assumptions. So it means roughly 240 terawatt hours of battery pack, or 240,000 gigawatt hours of battery need to be produced, but it'll only take 0.2% of land area for solar and wind. So it's not like we need to carpet the earth with solar and wind. It's just literally a fraction of a percent. Roughly a $10 trillion manufacturing investment, which relative to the global economy is actually a small number. Yeah, roughly 10% of the world economy. I think 10% of the world economy is a small price to pay for a sustainable energy future. So, it's also true that even when factoring in the cost or the emissions required to produce an electric vehicle, which for now are a little higher than gasoline vehicles, when you look at the emissions over time, electric vehicles absolutely win by a long shot. And as we're seeing, the cost and the emissions required to produce an electric vehicle are dropping rapidly over time. And we're going to get to the point where an electric vehicle is cheaper than a gasoline vehicle. So in 2022, we avoided releasing about 13 million tons of CO2, reduced manufacturing GHG per vehicle by 30%, and reduced water usage by 15%, despite massive increases in output. So we also made our factories safer, which is really important. So we track the injuries per person, and we believe at this point we are best in industry or have the lowest injuries per person. So. We're now actually quite a big company from a headcount standpoint. This is our direct employment number. So this does not count contractors. And for every manufacturing job, depending on how you count it, there are at least 5, sometimes up to 10 jobs created, because you got to look at the total supply chain, as well as all of the support functions. So, when you create a factory like this, you actually create jobs for teachers, lawyers, carpenters, electricians, and restaurants, and everything that's required to support a person at a factory. And this is why countries and states are so interested in having manufacturing facilities in their location. So anyway, it's a lot of people gainfully employed doing very useful things. We received 3.6 million job applications last year. So, and once again, the